Hey everybody, and welcome to tonight's modding stream where we're going to be starting the process of making the Sea Dragon. And I'm going to call this part 1 because we are going to be doing this several different segments, because my goal with this Sea Dragon that you guys all voted on, overwhelmingly so, is to actually make this from scratch. Well, as from scratch as much as I make things from scratch, because we learned earlier on that that was not necessarily the best thing to do. But we're going to basically go and make the Sea Dragon, and I'm going to show you all the steps. I'm not going to work on it unless I am streaming so that you can see it, you can go through, you can follow it, etc. And if you're wondering where this Sea Dragon photo comes here, right here, this is actually Mr. Sisu's BP edit of the Sea Dragon. So my goal is to completely rip him off, but in a modded version, and hope he's not that angry. I think he's on the stream, but he says he's going to sleep, so muhahaha, nobody tell him. But no, we're going to come up with the Sea Dragon. It's going to be very, probably similar to this, and I'm going to show you how to do that through all the steps. So at the end of the live stream sessions, you can literally watch and go through and make your own if you want to, add your own flair, or, you know, absolutely one-to-one copy me if you really want to. So that's what we're going to end up trying to do. I have the comments running again, as always, on the other screen here. I'll show it to you right there. And if you want to basically ask me a question, just like ping me in the chat, it'll pop up, and then like add a whole bunch of question marks and I'll see it on there. Otherwise, feel free to talk, discuss stuff, and then let me know what's everything's going. And if you are watching on the replay, just let me know in the comments. If you are new to the channel, you'll realize I do answer a lot of the comments, questions, etc., because I do this stuff for you guys. And then super welcome to everybody who's here so far. We got Mr. Sisu, who's actually here. We got Prime252, who if you stick around to the end, YouTube's going to boot you over to a video and quite an amazing announcement that he has that's going to be coming. So definitely stick to the end for that. Oliver's Gaming, welcome. Seek Kingdom 101, Space Games, Cedric is here. And we have Minecraft Roblox Gaming. I have no idea what that is, but welcome. So first thing we need to do is, with any recreation, we actually have to go and get a pile of information in order to make mods, etc. And we'll pop over here, and do I have Sea Dragon? There it is. Yeah, Sea Dragon, work in progress. Okay, obviously there's nothing here. There's nothing. We have to actually go and add this all in. So in order to do that, we actually do have to go and do some Googling or internet searching, or, you know, if you're doing it on Firefox, I think there's like something like CyberDuck or something. I can't remember what it is, DuckDuckGo or something. I always have some DuckDuckGos, and I'm like, what is this? And it's apparently a search engine. But anyhow, we're going to stick with Google because that's what I have open. All right, so unlike most other rockets, the Sea Dragon actually was never made. It was a conceptual design. So if we go here, we have a couple spots where we can actually get data, and you might notice that they're purple because I did want to make sure I had the data available. And you can go through, and sometimes you can go and do this. Sometimes there's really good photos out there, and you can get like really good, like high detailed res photos that somebody's come up with, or were part of the initial concept. And apparently it's suspicious block attempt. Awesome. Well, I just want to open the image though. Is the image suspicious? No? Okay, cool. And we're going to go that. So, and then the idea being is you just want to try to find something that's like as high resolution as possible, and ideally such that the numbers are available. I find that this website, AstroIC, I'm going to call it that, is pretty good at various rockets, etc. And by the way, there's also apparently a CB, a Seahorse, Excalibur, Sealar, and an Excalibur Model S that all sort of launch from the water, similar to how the Sea Dragon does it. So I didn't know that. So Googling it tells you, you know, what you can find. Wikipedia is a really good source for finding stuff. So that is great. And oh, it has the same. Is it the same picture, or is it a higher resolution? Is it a higher? Oh, it's a higher resolution. There we go. So we're going to save this image as, and I'm going to save it here as Sea Dragon. It's a GIF. I think I have it. Yeah. So we'll do that. And we'll show it in the folder, which is off the screen. Sorry about that. I'm just going to open it up here. And then we can go here and zoom into, 100%. And this is sort of where this drawing here, and it's in feet though, so you have to keep in mind that this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet. So we do have to convert its height from feet into metric because Spaceflight Simulator and Unity all use metric. But this has all the different things from the water tanks at the bottom that are going to weigh it down and then allow it to like angle up and whatnot, and all the other components. So basically, this is what we're going to make. This is the command module. I have no idea how wide this is. And then it's got a little launch abort tower. That's cute. A little launch abort tower on top of a giant rocket. But there we go. Now, what else do we need to get? We need to go and find where is my... Shoot. I lost it. Did I? No, it's right there. It's the same picture. I'm looking at the same picture. All right. So here we are. And we can close this and we can pick up some basic numbers. Things like it's 150 meters long and 23 meters wide. Okay, so that's a good starting point. That gives us an idea of the overall block. There's a whole bunch of other useful information. I like how Wikipedia has on the side here other cool information. The sea level engine apparently was 350 million newtons. Okay, that's quite a bit. And then the secondary stage had 59 million newtons. That's still a crazy number. I have no idea when I make this mod if it's going to cause a Spaceflight Simulator to have a crazy meltdown, but yeah. That's a little crazy. So we have first stage and second stage. We have the water balloony thing at the bottom. And then at the top, we're going to have a launch access tower, and then we have a little command module. And I'm assuming there's a payload bay in here somewhere. I'm not seeing a picture of the payload bay. Maybe it's in this big picture here showing it sort of, this is the payload bay. So, okay, so we're going to jump into Unity because obviously we need to do that. I'm going to close this right now because I want to open this, show it in Explorer, which is just off screen here. Let me pull that over for you guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this giant rocket GIF. I'm going to drop it into the Unity folder. And the reason for that is because then it'll show up here, and then I can drop it into the game, like so, or into the Unity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an empty here, and I'm just going to go 0, 0, 0, like this. It's not going to be the greatest thing in the world, but basically I want to make sure we size the image properly. So we're going to create a custom polygon, or no, we'll create a pipe. I like custom pipes. I don't know. Some people might be like, no, not custom pipes. And pipe mesh. There we go. And then we'll pick the game object, and we will pick the, where is it? We're going to say white color. There we go. And we're going to pick the shape is just going to be flat. And that doesn't have to be great. It's going to show up here as a little tiny cube, and we're going to go here, and I said numbers, and I didn't write them down, but I think it was 150 meters tall and 23 meters wide, which we will do there. And then we'll hit generate mesh, and that is the size of the Sea Dragon. And we're just going to drop the opacity down because what we're going to do next is actually rename this. So it's not work in progress. So this is Sea Dragon, and I just call it construct. I'll never add this into the game. This is my construct. So when I put all the pieces will come into here, and that way I can make sure everything lines up. So I'm going to take the construct, and I'm going to take this giant picture here, and I'm not going to do that because that's a mess. We'll go 40. No, sorry. That's going to be 0. And we're going to go click here. I'm going to go 0. And what we're going to do is increase the size of this here until it lines up with the size of this white thing, which we're now going to change to bluish. You know what? We're going to go red, simply so I can see it. Because we know the picture is a scaled diagram, and the easiest way to line this all up is to basically, oh shoot, did I change it again? I did. Shoot, my bad. I want it even. We gotta go down a bit. Okay, and then it should touch the top, and it should touch the bottom. So we are going to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. Hmm. Our scale drawing does not actually go to scale unless it's counting this engine that's massive as the 23 meters. Hmm. Don't be like that. This is the ballast assembly at the bottom. Theoretically, this should fit inside the red square because the red square is exactly the dimensions that we said it was. To which I now zoom in here and say, okay, what is this actual number at the bottom? And I'm going to just open up the original photo here because it's a little bit higher resolution. That'll kick in. And it's saying it is 560, 570, 580. Okay, so what is 580 in meters? Yeah, this is 580 feet, 2 meters. Welcome to lazy. And it says 176. So I don't know why we're told 150. That is the importance of checking your diagram, because often things are not as they should be. So this should be 176 meters tall. There we go. I didn't change it. Generate mesh. All right. So hopefully we avoided our first muck up of the day. So we're just going to go like this and touch the top. Have it centered. There we go. Does that include the whole sea dragon now? Now it does. Okay, so looking at this, it's not quite 176. It's just shy of it. So we're going to go and pick, I think we're going to go 170. And we're going to generate the mesh. And we're going to go back here. And we're just going to grab this, move it down. And this is a very important step because if you don't do this first and you just start making pieces, inevitably, because of different maths and people's, no, that's too much. So 76. So it's somewhere in between. So there's another way of doing this, and that is just simply grabbing this point and dragging it down. And what does that give us? That gives us negative, we're going to say negative 4. So we're going to go 174, 0. And that is going to be our dragon. So using this as our master drawing here and moving this up, we're going to conclude that our dragon should, why does that not work? Oh, because I didn't hit the generate mesh. There we go. Yeah, if you don't generate mesh, it doesn't show up. Just get right to the tip there. There we go. And that's going to be our sea dragon. It's going to fit in that square for the whole thing, with the exception of the engine, which flares out in this whole ballast thing. So that's what we're going to do. And that is the next step. I'm just quickly checking to see if there's any questions in the chat. I don't see any questions. Nobody's saying there's any craziness. I'm not doing anything horribly wrong. Okay, cool. So next step we're going to do is we're going to grab this red thing and we're going to actually now. No, we still need this a little bit, don't we? Okay, so it's 22. We're gonna make a secondary copy of this. Sorry, and we're gonna hide the first one by going down here to toggle active state. And yeah, it didn't disappear because it's still there. And we're gonna move this guy over here. Actually, we're gonna move him over here. We're just gonna move him slightly off to the side. And the reason for this is because I'm going to now try to figure out how big each piece is. And I think that's probably the wrong way about doing it. You know what? I'm doing this the wrong way. Ignore the last 30 seconds. Okay, so game object, this is our red square. And this is just for the square that's in there. And now we're going to create another one, and we're going to call it, I guess we're going to call it green square, because I'm going to use a green square. Yay, green, overlapping, which causes all sorts of problems. And we're going to go, and we're going to figure out, now the launch tower is going to be a certain size here. We should probably write this down, but that's okay. So there we go. And we have 162. So I'm going to open up Excel. Excel? Yeah, we'll open up Excel, or can I write this somewhere else? You know what? Notepad is probably better. It's a little bit cleaner for you guys. All right, so what we're doing here is we're going to go through this whole rocket, and we're going to grab the various components that we need and figure out the sizing first before we build it, so we don't play whoops later, because yeah, I've made that mistake before. Okay, so and we're doing this backwards, but that's okay. All right, zero that. Okay, so I'm going to say this is 170. It's not. That's okay. And we're going to drag this down here. And then we're going to drag this way here. Just so we have it. There we go. We'll say that's 2, 2. Again, we want to, oops, 0. And we're going to give this, let's say, 50, just so it's above everything. Okay. And we're going to say 163. Oops. All right, so this is going to be our launch tower. Obviously, the launch tower is going to be shaped inside this, but we know the launch tower needs to fit in this green square. So we're going to go to our notepad now, and we're going to write in here, launch tower, and we're going to write in that it's 2 meters. Width is 2 meters, and the height is 11 meters. All right. Next stage we have is the capsule. So we're going to jump back to, I wish I had this somehow to show it to you guys while we're doing it. Okay, we'll leave it over there. You know what, we're going to save this first. C dragon, and we're going to save it in our reference image folder where I save all my stuff for reference images. Okay, so we're going to move down to the capsule. The capsule is this whole thing here. We're going to move it down to about there. I think that's going to be the top of the capsule. I realize the capsule probably extends into it and whatnot, but we're going to, just for now, get the top of the capsule here. And then we're going to get how wide the capsule is, which is not surprising. It's 4. This literally is going to be the Orion capsule from the Saturn V. So if I open this up, like, it's essentially this Saturn V capsule, and I don't know whose picture this is. It says it is Steph Moranjana. Oh, I think this is Steph, the developers. Maybe. I don't know. I wrote that down. But yeah, that's what it says. That's the guys made it, but that's one. And then I have a bunch of other ones that are made by other people, which I'm trying to find. Where is Brochet's? Come on. He had a nice one. And I don't know. Okay. we'll open this one instead. So this is the capsule, and in the Dragon, essentially it's the same thing. And given this tower, we can pretty much guess that the top of the Dragon is this, which is useful. And what we'll be starting with first, because I actually have the rest of the Apollo rocket done. So if I get this done first, I'll be able to release Apollo, and then the Sea Dragon will follow shortly after. So bonus for everybody. But we can go like this. We can expand it out. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, so we know the capsule here is its width is 4 meters, and its height is, go here again, and we just sort of assume 160 to 163, so it's 3 meters high. And we're just going to say here it's Apollo. So we'll go back and we'll get some Apollo numbers, but that gets us to where the green square is now. And then the next thing we'll do is obviously we keep going down the rocket. So the next stage in the rocket is going to be this front sort of attachment fairing. It's going to be here. We don't need that one there, so we're just going to move that there. So we said 160 at the top, and again I want a nice even number at the bottom because we have to make this work with game dynamics. And we know that it's 23 at the bottom, so what is it? And it's 4 at the top. So that's pretty much it there. There's a bit of a curve to it, that's fine. So go like this, and we'll call this is the payload fairing line is right there. Payload tank, or yeah, this is a giant tank. Oh goody. Yeah, so we're gonna go down to here. Well, what is it here? We'll grab the first number, then we'll move down. And I gotta zero that out. There we go. So we're gonna say 144. So 144 plus 18 gets us to that. So we're gonna say the fairing, I don't know what we're gonna call this, tank lid. Its height is 18 meters, no, 16 meters. And the width goes from 4 to 23, because we know it's 23 from before, right? Yeah, it's 23. 23. There we go. Awesome. Next stage we have is the giant section here. So there's going to be this giant payload bay. I'm going to go down to this line right here. There we go. And we said 144 at the top. Oops. The top is 144, and the bottom is, we're saying 120. Does that get close? Okay, cool. We're just going to grab that. And yeah, we're just measuring at this point. And we'll take it from the bottom of this bay right here. And that is, I'll say 132. All right, so that is 12 meters. Oh, this payload bay. I guess it's payload lid is probably a better term. We'll go payload lid, payload bay. So at this point, 23, pretty much everything, but the height is 12 meters. And we'll just quickly make our way down the rest of the rocket. Yeah, this is a bit time consuming, but this is the kind of stuff that you need to do because the next thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna make all these pieces. And we're going to make these pieces with as many of the pre-made pieces I have. And then we'll go back and in the next session, probably start customizing all the pieces so they actually work as Space Dragon pieces, not just, or sorry, Sea Dragon, and not just as random pieces that happen to fit. So, yeah, so Antimateria, yeah. So we'll be doing the, I think time-wise, we'll be starting with the Apollo CSM next session, because we're going to start from the top and move our way down for this rocket. A little bit backwards, I know, but I think for a lot of people, they would like to get the Apollo sooner than later. So as soon as the Apollo capsule is done, that will be out in their hands, and they'll be able to play with that for a week while we finish off the Sea Dragon. So the next step is this giant bay, we'll call it. There's a lot going on here, so we're just going to go The top is 132, and the bottom, I'm going to guess, is 100. How good did I do? No, I'm off by quite a bit. But we're going to go all the way to the bottom here, like so. And what's our number? We're going to say, I'm going to say 90. We're going to generate that mesh, and I'm going to call this the second stage tank. That's essentially all it is. It's a giant tank of fuel. So we're going to go second stage tank, and that is 90 meters by that. So that's 42 meters tall. Woo! The height is 42 meters. Okay. And then we have second stage. I'm going to call this not a fairing, skirt. And this is width. It's going to go from, well, the height, we'll figure it out in a second. But width-wise, it's going to go from 23 to ... Let's find out. So we're going to, again, move this square. And we're going to go say its height now is, top of it is 90. And let's see if I do 80. Is 80 right? Ooh, no. It's more like 77 or 78. 79. Oh, I was off by one. I was off by one-ish. No, I wasn't. 78? No. 80. What's 80 give us? So 80.5? No. 79.5. How about that? Oh, that's pretty good. There we go. So that's going to go there. And this one here actually fares out quite a bit. So I want to know how far that goes. And that's going to make this a little messy, but that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to create another line. Whoops. Whoops, come on. There we go. And we're going to bring it down to about right there. And we're going to figure out this. And this will be a bit of spin-off tech because these are pocket rockets. So they sit in little pockets. There we go. And we can figure that out pretty quick. So 80.5, okay. And I'm going to say this is 30 because I need it to be even for the game. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to write these numbers down here. So skirt and pocket rockets. So the height is 79.5, so that's 10.5, 10.5. But it's actually got a height 2 is it's 1 meter from bottom, and it goes out to width 30, and then back here. So 30 at H2. Okay, so that's the pocket rockets, and we will work on these. That will be a new piece. Obviously, we need to make. And then we're going to continue, and we're going to get rid of the pocket rocket expansion. And we're going to keep going, and I'm going to continue my horrible guessing game of how much do I think the next stage is. So this is a pretty big stage. I'm going to guess this gets us down to 20 meters. How did I do? Horribly. I'm no good at this. All right. So we want to get to what stage here? Where is the engine line? The last part here is right here. There we go. Generate the mesh. And we're going to say, what, 43? Yeah, 43. So 43, 79 minus 43. Let's find out. So that's 36.5 meters. So that's the first stage tank. First stage tank is 36.5 meters. Yikes. Okay, so, and then the height again, the width is still 30.23. And then we have the engine. So the rest of this, I'm not really going to measure it out in this episode because it's going to take a while. And what we're going to probably do is do an entire, take this picture here, put it into its own little engine thing and actually go through and manually make all those pieces. So with that said, I do know we have some things to do. So One of the things is that this second stage here actually has this um, angled piece in it. You can kind of see it here. It's like a little triangle. So I probably shouldn't have done what I just did. I needed to do this second angle triangle, didn't I? Yeah. Okay, so let me think on this for a second here. So instead of calling that whole thing the tank, um, we're going to go down to here and do the tank from here. But I need this distance first. Okay, so 1 second here. And this is why I say it's important to do this first, because this is where you make mistakes and then things don't work, and then you wonder why you're off by 3 meters, especially on something that's this large. And we're going to go down here to that. So we're going to say this right here. I'm going to take that line right there. What does that number give us? 70? 70? Okay. So that's 9.5 meters. So we're going to throw in here. Okay, so this is a 9 point. This is the, we're going to call it pocket rockets. Here we go. Hang on. So second stage skirt overlap because it's overlapping and it is height of 9 meters. And I actually have this part already made, ironically. I have to change the height and the width and stuff, but yeah, somebody made a Sea Dragon ish. Well, they made a Sea Dragon make out of different parts with BP editing and some modding, and they came up with a neat way of doing it with one of my mod parts. So I'm gonna do the same thing and save myself a whole host of work. Second stage is 35.5, 36.5. Okay, cool, that's good. So there's an overhang here. So I need to take. I'm gonna go. Excuse me. Blah 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 blah. What I need to do is now go and figure out this tank that's sitting here. And this tank, let's go down to here, because it's like this extra segment. I don't know why it's got a cone segment in it. If anyone knows, let me know in the chat. And we're gonna go up like this. All right, and I'm gonna call this the first stage cone. I don't know. And how wide is it? 2.8 wide. So we're gonna say it's you know what, it might not actually be 2.8. I think it's 2. I'm tempted to take 2 as a more accurate image. And say the top is 91. And we're gonna say this is 87. No, 87, 88. 88 works a lot better. Okay, so there's that. So we're gonna make that as our thing here because we gotta rework the bottom stage tank stuff here, but we'll get to it. So we're gonna call this first stage. I don't know, cone. I'm giving a shrug on that one. Um, so so first stage cone, awesome. So the first stage cone is 2 pieces. So we're gonna go height 1 is 2 meters, and its width is 2 meters. Oops. And then height 2 is, what do we got here? 88 to 91. Okay. Only 3 meters? No. No, it's 70. Blah, that's 18 meters. I'm like, brain fart. No. So this is 3 meters. This is meters, and its width goes from 2 meters to 23. There we go. All right, so that's the stage cone, and then we get back to this stage here. And we have to start at the bottom of the cone, and I have to correct for that. So we're gonna go we're gonna delete this middle guy here. We don't need him anymore. We're gonna go 70, and we're gonna go here. I think we said, I'm just gonna say 40 and 23 here. As we make our way down here, oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so generate the mesh. Nope, I made it too long. What was the number we came up with before? 43? All right, so 43. So 70 to 43 is the actual tank. So we've made that correction. So we've avoided that little snafu. So so instead of being 36.5, it's only 27 meters. It's only 27 meters. Wah, wah, wah. So there we go. As I said before, we'll get to this bottom part a little bit later, probably episode 3. I just this is going to be a whole engine and ballast thing, and the ballast thing I have to actually finish. It'll be a separate part. I have to finish my buoyancy thing because I need that. Otherwise, it will not sink in the sea and it will not do what I want and blah 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 blah. But that's going to be something else I'm going to do a little offline because I have to figure out how to actually do that mod. Because if anyone hasn't noticed, I've been trying to work on making an ocean because yeah, I'm crazy and I think an ocean's a great idea. All right, so without that further ado, we're going to start pulling pieces together in order to make this rocket. So apologies for the burp. We're going to go to, where is it? Atlas Delta here. And we're going to find the Orion. And yeah, this is where I'm basically stripping. So this is the LES. So we're going to call this LES, I don't know, C Apollo. It's going to be both. So it's this thing here. So in the next episode, we're going to rework this piece into the new launch tower, but it has all the code already in it. So there's no point in reworking that. The other thing I said was we're going to go down to utility pack. I think it's in 3. And we're going to find pedals, the pedal cone fairing. And we're going to steal this, copy that. And we're going to bring that over to here, Sea Dragon. And this here, what do we call it? Our second stage skirt overlap. Okay, so this is CD skirt. Our second skirt. We'll call it the second skirt. I guess we'll call it that. Okay, and the trick here is we're going to convert this into. No, this is the. I grabbed the wrong one. Yeah, delete and unpack that. I don't want that. Oh, did I pick the right one and then I delete? Unity. Don't. Cone. Tube. I want the tube. The tube is what we want because what we're going to do is we're going to turn the tube upside down so that it spreads out and that drops the first stage. And there we go. Pedal tube. Yay. Good. Next stage we have is the... What else do we have on our list of stuff that we need? So we have this section here that we have for the pocket rockets. We have the stage there. We have. I'm not going to pull any tanks over yet. This is just a cone, and that's the bottom here. So yeah. So all right. So other than actually starting to make little pieces, let's do that. I'm going to go here to capsule and lander, and we're going to steal the Starliner. Because the Starliner is what we want, and we want the Starliner heat shield. Where is it? No. This is Starliner capsule, Starliner heat shield. There we go. So we want these both. We're gonna make changes to them, of course, but that gives us a capsule, and we know from here, Sea Dragon, that the capsule is 3 meters by 4 meters. So we can actually go here and we could type in that it's 3 meters tall and that it's 4 meters wide. And we can generate a mesh. And then we go over here to this guy over here. And we say this guy here is 4 meters by 4 meters. We hit apply variant and it's going to give me an exception. Why? Why is it giving me an exception? Don't do that. Generate the mesh properly. Anyway, so we'll figure this out. And we're going to go Apollo and call it capsule. And we're going to call this Apollo, heat shield. We'll just call it HS. That's what I like to do. So we got the capsule, the heat shield, the launch abort system, the pedal tube. We need the tanks, so that's pretty easy to make. We're just gonna, again, steal tanks. Where is it? Apollo here. I'm just gonna steal the tanks. No, no, nope, nope. We'll steal this guy. I think this guy is the least crazy out of these things. When I started doing them, I have to fix a few things, but I ended up coming up with stuff. So we're gonna call this one here Sea Dragon. So CD uh, first stage. So this is second stage tank. Big long name. And we're gonna strip probably most of this right off of it because we don't need it. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. That was an error. I don't need the pipe left. I don't need the pipe right. I don't need the stop spacer. I don't need the bottom spacer. I need that section. I don't need this section. What is this section? Oh, this is the actual stage, yeah. So this is what I was saying. Older times I went through and I put the coding into the actual stage thing. Don't do that. Don't do this ever. Just remove it. Make the components separate pieces. Your life will be so much better for it. I cannot tell you how much annoyance that is when those pieces are in there. So we're going to delete that. Remove. What should be in the top section is the variables that you want to use. Skin module, which you will have different meshes, etc. in there. I'm going to take the flag section. Color texture. I think this is so you guys can change it later. And then you want your magnet module in there, which we're going to set up in a second. And you want your resource, like whatever it is, your fuel, etc. And this will control your mass. That's what you want in the top section. When it comes to actually the visible stuff, make it, sub items, because that'll make your life a lot easier. Because trying to find out where you hid stuff in a sub item or which sub items in there, it makes a bit of a mess. So this is, we said, the first stage, and the first stage is 16 meters. No, sorry, the bay is 12 meters by 23. Okay, so we're going to start at 0, and we're going to say 12 meters, and we're going to go 23, 23, and then we're going to go generate the mesh, and it's going to disappear. Oh, it's up here. Good. It didn't disappear. And we're just going to call this tank for whatever. So there we go. And we are going to then take this and we're going to duplicate it, Control D, and then we're going to make sure we have the right one here, and we'll call this the first stage tank, because there's very little point in, yeah, copy past it everything you can. Always good. And then we can change the names, etc. We'll do in the next episode. But this episode, as I said, we're just trying to get all the pieces together, put it together, and then say, look, we have, a quote Sea Dragon-ish, and we'll get to it. So this guy here, again, looking at our document, we said the first stage is 27 meters. So we're going to just go to the tank. We're going to scroll here. We're going to say 27 meters. We're going to generate the mesh, and boom, the tank is there. Now, both tanks have the wrong names. They have the wrong amount of fuel in them and the mass, etc. We will get to that in a little bit when we start modifying everything. But for all intents and purposes, there's the pieces. So to give you an idea, and we come back here, we can actually start dragging these pieces into here. Again, I'll never release this as an actual part in the pack, but we can go like this and start adding in the parts on top of the rocket, essentially. And we're just going to add it to this one here, like so. And again, it's not going to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be. This is just to give us a general idea of what we're looking at, because at this point, all these pieces need to be actually properly sized. So we need to do that. And then I said we had the second stage is going to be right, where is it? Here? No, it's up there. Shoot. Two. Excuse me. And actually, this is a bit lower because that's actually the payload bay. So go like this. We'll make the payload bay in a second. And then we have, no, wait, this should be lower. Okay, so we'll figure this out. And then we have the first stage. No. Why is that not right? It says, hang on. That is 27. 27. Generate mesh, right? Okay, and this one here. Oh, shoot, that's what happened. Okay. Yeah, no worries. So this is, second stage tank is 42 meters. Okay, so this is 42. That explains why we're having problems. And this is why it's important, because you'll get messed up and then things will go horribly, horribly wrong. Okay, so this here is the second stage tank, and we're going to drag it down to, I think it was about right here. When we put everything together, we'll double check everything. Yeah, that looks about right. It's on the line. So that's good. And it's actually going to go 90. And was it 43? Or no, 42. 42, okay. And then we're going to go and grab the first stage tank right here. And we're going to move that down to about right there. And we said 42, I think it was. Okay, cool. And we can fix things up a little bit as we go here. Make sure it's in the right spot. Oops. Let's make sure we grab the blue thing. And we're just going to bring it down to about right. Oh, okay. It's 41.5 apparently is the number we want-ish. Okay. So that's how much of the Sea Dragon we currently have quickly. The pedal tube is right here. So the pedal tube needs a slight adjustment. There's a lot of stuff in here, but I know the number is going to be 23. Oops, sorry. Oh yeah, no, the bottom is 23, the top is 23, the whole thing's 23. Who am I kidding? Apply variant. No, that did not do what I want. Why did not do what I want? Oh, because it's down here, right. So there's adaptation code because it's a standard piece. You can see it here. And there's a variable drawer and stuff. So we're actually going to remove that. We don't want that. We don't want this, and we don't want that. Why? Because this is a recreation project, so it doesn't need anything. And now we're going to say apply the variant. Come on. Please be nice. Oh, darn it. Oh, here. 23, 23, and 23. So we'll have to go through this and double check to make sure we correct all the pieces and everything. Again, oops, what do I want? I want apply variant. There we go. Awesome. And then we want to probably figure this out. And I probably did it the wrong way, but for right now, that's fine. We'll fix it later. Go here, and we'll call this CD. What do we call it? Skirt or something? Skirt. Second stage skirt. Pocket rocket stage skirt. There you go. So where is it? Stage skirt. And we're going to add it into our rocket, and we're going to then take it here, and we're going to go rotation. I think it's Z. Negative 180. There you go. 180. Super. And then I'm going to move this over here. It's going to go backwards. No, it's going to go right. Okay. So there we go. Haha. And then we make sure these things line up, because lining up is important. A second here. So these are all off by a little bit. That's okay. 42. All right. So that's what we have so far. So we need to make this payload bay. We're going to make this payload bay out of similar code, but basically it's going to be a giant fairing that doesn't open. To be determined how we're going to actually, because it's a giant bay, right? But I don't know how it opens, so we're going to have to figure that one out. And then we'll need the rest of the Apollo spacecraft, but we'll use an Apollo spacecraft model to do that. um, and we'll get that. We'll need to make the pocket rockets. The pocket rockets are definitely going to be not a lot of work. I think that they don't actually come out. Like they look like they don't come out. That looks like they're just there. But you have one, two, three that you'll see, and then at the bottom here we'll have this giant engine, and that will probably be a full episode to make this engine and all these pieces and stuff because it'll take quite some time to do. But we can look at making it, at the very least, the initial pocket rocket segment because it's not that hard, and we actually don't see any of these rockets, so I should have kept that green thing. Oh well. So we're going to copy one of the fuel tanks, like so. We're going to double click on it. We're going to call this here CD second stage rockets. With an E. Double click on it, make sure we're on it because we don't want to accidentally mess stuff up. We're going to go back to our document here, and we said the pocket rockets 10.5, and then 1 meter goes to 30. Okay, cool. That's easy enough to do. So we're going to go here. We're going to pick 1, and this is why, yes, it took a long time to do it, but and then we said here was how high? 10.5. But took a while to do it, and we'll obviously make it look nicer than this when we finish. Uh, but for all intents and purposes, there you go. And we then go here, tank, stage rockets. We pop it in here, and then we say, why is this the wrong height? Oh, because it goes like that. Okay, there we go. 42, and we're going to say 78. And this guy here, he has to come down, so he's probably at 88. Nope, he's at 89. No, 88.5. Here's our 0.5 step that we had. Okay, so we've put that all together so far, so we're doing pretty good. How are we doing for time? We have a few more minutes here as we sort of put this all together. So this section here, we need to put this together. Now this is a going to be a little bit different. I'm going to grab, what am I going to grab to make this? Again, I don't want to have to make anything from scratch if I don't have to, but I'm going to grab a fairing. And the reason I'm grabbing a fairing is because it's probably the wrong thing to do, but we can fix that later. But a fairing gives you a better idea of what we're trying to accomplish. So I just got to find a actual fairing. Cargo fairing? Sure. We're going to steal a cargo fairing. And we're going to go back to the Sea Dragon, and we're going to go paste. Awesome. And we're going to call this the C. We'll call this CD, and we'll call it, we're going to say it's the payload fairing. Payload. We'll just call it payload bay. Okay. So if you aren't familiar with how these fairings work, they actually have a bunch of split code, etc. I don't think we'll end up using that split code. We might. That'll be a discussion when we get to it. But what's more important is that we have this. This is empty space in the middle that we can put stuff in. It has this outer line here along the outside, which you bump into, and then you have the cone at the top. So all we really need to do is actually go to this mesh and change this mesh. And this mesh has a whole bunch of original width, heights, and stuff like this that we're going to literally strip out and replace with our own code because this is designed so that I can make multiple different sizes of payload bays, etc., very quickly. But again, since this is a recreation, We know exactly how high and how tall, etc. it's going to be. So we just have to type the numbers in. And we can get rid of a lot of the stuff in between because it is surprisingly very basic. It looks like that. And again, we may make some changes a bit later, but for right now, we're just trying to put all the pieces together. So we go and say the payload lid is 16 meters. So 16, and we said the payload bay is 12, so 12 plus 16 is 28. So the height is 28. The next height is 16. The width original is 23. 23. And what is the remaining height we said it was going to be? The width is 4 meters. It's 4 meters. Okay, 4 meters. All right, now then we're going to generate the mesh. It's going to make this giant friggin' capsule because it's huge. We're going to find that I don't need the top on this. I don't need the top on that. Okay. And it's white, so we can change it to white. Although, you know what? I'm just going to leave the NASA thing on there for right now. And I'm going to take these mesh points, and this is copy it, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to basically paste it here, and paste it on anything that says it's mesh points. Ta-da-da. Ta-da. Like, this is why having the stuff properly made helps a lot when you're doing things. And this is the back pieces like that. And the back piece like that. Cool. And then we go back to payload bay, and we're going to hit apply variant, and boom, we have the whole bay done. Now, I'm going to, for right now, hide the front pieces because we don't really need them for what we're doing. We'll get back to them later, but they're just going to be white anyway. And we're going to go back to the Sea Dragon stage, Sea Dragon right here, and we're going to grab the payload bay, and we're going to drop it right on top right here, like so. Ta-da! And it's slightly off, but that's okay. 131, I think. Nope. 130? Is it 130? 130 is too low. 130.5. How about that? There we go. Perfect. And then we're at 42. Okay. And then we have here. So we need to have the Apollo capsule sit right here. So it's going to sit on top of this thing right here. We have the giant payload bay, which is currently a massive fairing. So if you clicked on it in game, it would split across and go all over the place. We have the tank here, which is, you know, big. We have this here. We're going to have to add the rocket code and everything into this guy. Not a huge issue right now, but it's going to be all put together. We have the bottom tank here. We have this piece here. The only other thing we're missing is that weird, I don't know what the heck is this thing, this triangle thing, that's probably going to run into problems with the bottom of this. So I'm going to have to make that triangle thing. Okay, so we're going to make the triangle thing. We're going to add it into this guy here so that it's all one piece because I don't see it splitting. Nope, I don't see it splitting. So let's do that. So we're going to go to first stage. I think this is the tank. Yeah. And we're going to add a piece here. We're going to drag it up. And then we're going to type in the numbers over here on the right. We're going to pull them out. So this weird, oh, no, sorry, my bad. We're not going to do that. We're going to create another thing, and we're going to call this the cone. I don't know why we're calling it the cone, but we're going to call it the cone. And the cone is going to go here. And, oh, shoot, did I did a thing and I forgot to delete it. Okay, there we go. Fix this. Generate the mesh on that. Okay, so the cone's going to start here at the top at 23. And it's going to go from 27 to what? What did we say it was? Cone was 18 meters, so 27 plus 18 is 45. So it's going to go to 45. It's going to be, what did we say, 2 meters? 2 meters. And then at the very top, we're going to add another 3 meters. So we're going to do that, and that's going to bring us to 48. Okay, and the reason we're doing it this way is because we want it attached to something, because I'm actually going to change it from parts to a non-colliding part. I'm going to remove the hit collider. It's not going to be able to attach to anything. It literally, it looks nice, but it doesn't actually do anything in the game. It's just, it looks pretty, because otherwise you're going to have things colliding with each other, or I'm going to have to rework my pedal fairing code, which I might do when we get to it. But for right now, I want to be able to put this together and not have everything freak out on me. So I'll do that. So now this piece has the cone here underneath, and it's not colliding with anything, which is great. And so we just need the top part here and the engine, and yeah, we pretty much just have to come up with some numbers, and then we have to get these little things that hang off the side. I'm assuming those are probably RCS devices. And then obviously we need to make it look pretty. And Prime says, we have a problem. Oh no, what is the problem? What is the problem? What is the horrible, horrible problem? Yeah, I know the premiere is going to be coming up in a few minutes. So we're just finishing up here. But like, just let me know what the problem is, and then we'll solve it. So this is probably as far as we're going to get. We're going to do some changes now. Obviously, when I'm doing testing, I need to actually create some stuff, which I'll show you in the next episode about how to basically put it into its own little project, have its own little category. Eventually, if you've seen me doing this stuff, I create a little category, I put everything into it, I make it work, and then when I'm done, I'll move it over to the final category, and that way I'm able to quickly check things and stuff rather than having to play hunt and go peck. So that's sort of what we go. And yeah, if you're wondering what the premiere is, Prime has a version 2 pack coming out, and assuming he doesn't have any massive problems, when I hit the end stream, it will kick you guys over there. Definitely watch the pack, definitely give that a like, and then definitely check out the pack. And if he's slightly delayed on the pack, not the end of the world, check it out and all that good stuff. Because yeah, if you like Sea Dragon and big rockets, Prime is very quickly becoming the king of big rockets. He has the Starship pack that is just amazing. So without further ado, I'm going to probably say good night and kick you off to his premiere, and see you guys there and all that good stuff. And yeah, in the next episode, we're going to go through and we're going to just modify all these pieces, so they actually aren't like random numbers and everything else like that. They are, properly named and properly sized, etc., and weighted. And then we're going to do a quick test fire with some janky engines to make sure it all works. And then in episode 3, we'll get the RCS system and the engines all working, and we should have a Sea Dragon or a giant object that's going to cause the game to crash. You'll have to find out. Till then, have a good night and enjoy a lovely video about Starship.